Let's now move to learner motivation and interest, which are considered to be important key factors, psychological factors in learning a second language. In the beginning, I'll just introduce what is motivation. Motivation may roughly be seen as the factors behind human actions, why people think and behave in a certain way. All the factors which may be involved behind a certain action may be seen as the motivation for doing that. Dornier, which is an important contributor to second language motivation theory, and recently his theories of self-motivation have been very popular in the field. He argues that motivation not only involves the reasons behind human action, but it also deals with the direction and magnitude of human action. That means that it not only includes the choice of human action, but also the persistence with a particular action we choose to perform. I mean, how long we can carry on that zeal to perform that action, as well as the effort to be put or is actually put to perform a certain action. So motivation is not about a certain emotional urge to perform certain thing. Rather, it is more concrete, and it involves our efforts and our courage to move forward with that particular action. It definitely arises from a purpose. It is not a random choice which comes like a sudden uprise in your emotions. It has a clear purpose behind it. And overall, if we look at the motivation, it's a very complex process, as well as it's a very complex concept to be understood, because there may be so many factors behind the human actions. For example, if we just look at the example of learning a second language, one person might learn a second language because of his or her personal interest into foreign languages. The other might learn it to impress others, and yet another one might learn it in order to gain some job. So there could be so many factors behind a human action. So that makes the concept of motivation a very complex concept to be understood. And that's why it's very difficult to develop a comprehensive theory of motivation which would help us understand the various motivations or motivational factors behind human actions at the same time. Motivation is a cognitive stimulation which leads us to develop a certain liking for an action, to put some sustained effort. The effort may be intellectual or physical to perform a certain action. As motivation influences human behaviors for various actions, it also influences our desire to learn anything, including second language. So we could assume that motivation do perform an important role in learning a second language. And there may be multiple concepts or multiple effects of motivation on a second language learning. For example, it influences cognitive processing, which help us understand various concepts very easily. It also improves students' performance in terms of their achievement in learning a second language, and it also increases their ability to initiate and persist with learning activities within classroom as well as outside the classroom. It leads students to put more effort and energy, and because of this extra energy, they could achieve their goals quickly, and they remain focused because of this enthusiastic behavior into learning. It also guides their behavior towards their learning goals in a focused way, and students, because of their motivated behavior, are also tilted towards more rewarding outcomes in terms of their learning. It not only helps learners, but it also helps researchers and teachers to understand L2 learning more deeply, because by knowing students' motivation, we are able to know various reasons behind their learning, and therefore we could focus more on those reasons and can motivate them. So overall, it is very important in the learning process. So, and it may help the teachers to know about the second language learning phenomenon. As I mentioned earlier, it's very important in learning. One of a very popular figure in second language motivation theory has pointed out that only if we can get our students motivated, we can make them learn a second language. That means that motivation plays a very important, a critical role in learning a second language.